Hiber-Nation 30. Grizzly's Growls presents Stories from the Hiber-Nation. MONARCH, the Big Bear of Tallac, by Ernest Thompson Seton, as read by David Grizzly Smith. Part 2. The Springs and the Miner's Dam. Jack and Jill, the hunter named the cubs, and Jill, the little fury, did nothing to change his early impression of her bad temper. When at food time the man came, she would get as far as possible up the post and growl, or else sit in sulky fear and silence. Jack would scramble down and strain at his chain to meet his captor, whining softly and gabbling his food at once with the greatest of gusto and the worst of manners. He had many odd ways of his own, and he was a lasting rebuke to those who say an animal has no sense of humor. In a month he had grown so tame that he was allowed to run free. He followed his master like a dog, and his tricks and funny doings were a continual delight to Kellyan and the few friends he had in the mountains. On the creek bottom below the shack was a meadow where Lan cut enough hay each year to feed his 2 ponies through the winter. This year, when hay time came, Jack was his daily companion, either following him about in dangerous nearness to the snorting scythe, or curling up an hour at a time on his coat to guard it assiduously from such aggressive monsters as ground squirrels and chipmunks. An interesting variation of the day came about whenever the mower found a bumblebee's nest. Jack loved honey, of course, and knew quite well what a bee's nest was, so the call, "Honey, Jack, honey," never failed to bring him in waddling haste to the spot. Jerking his nose up in token of pleasure, he would approach cautiously, for he knew the bees have stings. Watching his chance, he would dexterously slap at them with his paws, till one by one they were knocked down and crushed. Then, sniffing hard for the latest information, he would stir up the nest gingerly till the very last was tempted forth to be killed. When the dozen or more that formed the swarm were thus got rid of, Jack would carefully dig out the nest and eat first the honey, next the grubs and wax, and last of all the bees he'd killed, champing his jaws like a little pig at a trough, while his long, red, snaky tongue was ever busy lashing the stragglers into his greedy maw. Lan's nearest neighbor was Lou Bonamy, an ex-cowboy and a sheep-herder, now a prospecting miner. He lived with his dog in a shanty about a mile below Kellyan's shack. Bonamy had seen Jack perform on a bee crew, and one day as he came to Kellyan's he called out, "Lan, bring Jack here, we'll have some fun." He led the way down the stream into the woods. Kellyan followed him, and Jackie waddled at Kellyan's heels, sniffing once in a while to make sure he was not following the wrong pair of legs. "There, Jackie, honey, honey." Bonamy pointed up a tree to an immense wasp's nest. Jack cocked his head to one side and swung his nose on the other. Certainly those things buzzing about looked like bees, though he'd never saw a bee's nest of that shape or in such a place. But he scrambled up the trunk. The men waited, Lan in doubt as to whether he should let his pet cub go into such danger, Bonamy insisting it would be a capital joke to spring a surprise on Little Bear. Jack reached the branch that held the big nest high over the deep water, but went with increasing caution. Never seen a bee's nest like this. It did not have the right smell. And then he took another step forward on the branch. What an awful lot of bees! Another step. Still, there were undoubtedly bees. He cautiously advanced a foot. And bees mean honey. A little farther. Now he was within 4 feet of the great paper globe. Well, the bees hummed angrily, and Jack stepped back in doubt. The men giggled. Then Bonamy called softly and truthfully, "Honey, Jackie, honey." The little bear, fortunately for himself, went slowly, since in doubt. He made no sudden move, and he waited a long time, though urged to go on, till the whole swarm of bees had re-entered their nest. Now Jackie jerked his nose up, hitched softly out a little farther till right over the fateful paper globe. He reached out and by lucky chance put one horny little paw pad over the hole. His other arm grasped the nest, and leaping from the branch, he plunged headlong into the pool below, taking the whole thing with him. As soon as he reached the water, his hind feet were seen tearing into the nest, kicking it to pieces. Then he let it go and struck out for the shore, the nest floating in rags downstream. He ran alongside till the comb lodged against the shallow place, and then he plunged in again. The wasps were drowned, or too wet to be dangerous. He carried his prize to the bank in triumph. No honey, of course. That was a disappointment, but there were lots of fat white grubs, almost as good. And Jack ate till his paunch looked like a little rubber balloon. "How's that?" chuckled Lan. "The laugh's on us," answered Bonamy with a grimace. Thank you for listening to Stories from the Hiber-Nation. Comment on the website at grizzliesgrowls.com. This program is offered under a Creative Commons Attribution, Non-Commercial, No Derivatives license.